Hello, my beautiful friends of the internet. Welcome to today's episode of the Avalon News on Avalon Meta Live. We're going to have a lot of really cool discussions. Interestingly, all the three stories that I have today, the news that we have today, they all have something in similar. It's all about intellectual properties or patents and how some intellectuals reacted to these intellectual properties. So I'm super excited to see you on the other side. Let's roll the intro.
Follow your passion might be a perfect question to ask and might have a perfect answer when interpreted right.
Let's start tracking which stocks can actually go up and go down, or which stocks have an advantage with the vaccine coming out.
Why it would have been more expensive to fake a moon landing back in those days. It's quite an interesting video to watch.
The economic activity created from the App Store alone is worth $500 billion.
So let's move on to the next question.
Man, it was too easy.
Too easy, no? Why didn't you answer? Alright guys, you guys excited? Martin, my man, let's have the first slide. No, that's not the first slide. There's one before this. It's about my man. Yeah, that one. No, the one before this. Yes. The first slide is about my man, Gary Vee. Now, I love Gary Vee. I just love the energy that he brings in. And more importantly, I like how much he vouches for an idea that he believes in. And one of his latest releases is VeeFriends, right? Gary and me and VeeFriends. So what is VeeFriends? Now you might have heard the news about NFTs, right? Which news? Our news. Remember we spoke about NFTs. And one of the things that we spoke about on the NFTs episode was how communities can interact and use these non-fungible tokens, right? And now Gary Vee is bringing out this feature, this concept of VeeFriends, because he wants the rest of the world to also be aware of the power of non-fungible tokens, right? Now you might think, why would anyone want to buy or pay around 3 ETH, that's like 7 lakh rupees or more, for a doodle of Gary Vee? So Gary Vee came on, I think it was CNBC, and he spoke about this. He actually released a video on his channel explaining what the VeeFriends is. So if you can see that screenshot over there, you can see a lot of images of monkeys and astronauts and elephants and all kinds of doodles that Gary Vee was literally coughing up in just a matter of seconds. Now what he is doing this, and let me give you a little more clarity. So Gary also wants, it's one of his dreams to have this huge conference called the VeeCon, right? It's like a 3-year super conference. Now what he's going to be doing is this, using these non-fungible tokens, using these NFTs as sort of like a admit pass for that VeeCon conference. Also, each of these doodles, they would probably cost, he said at the start, they started around 3 ETH, which is around 7 lakhs. But it's not just limited to the VeeCon. He's also giving up around 550 gift goodies, which are physical gift goodies. He'll be mailing them throughout the time of around 3 years or 6 years or something. So yeah, it's like this admit card to this huge super conference called the VeeCon, along with gift goodies, and also you get to own intellectual property. So he's super excited about it. You guys should definitely check out this video. Where he explains the entire idea and how more and more communities can actually start using this and building their loyal following. Awesome. Now, what's on the next news? Right. Now that there is a graph which shows America first, ? And how COVID-19 vaccine production and exports have been occurring. Now I want you to look at 2 of those bars. The second one is that of United States, and the 5th one is that of the United Kingdom, right? So in purple, what they show is how much of exports have been done, and in blue they're showing how much has been received. Now, interestingly, you will notice that United States and United Kingdom have done almost zero in terms of their exports. On the next slide, I think we have one very now Bill Gates has been in the Twitter feed of most of us. Now there's multiple things why he's come into the news. One is his personal life with his marriage, which I don't think we need to discuss because he wants some privacy in that state. But there's one comment that he recently made regarding how he does not want the COVID-19 vaccine recipes, etc., to be passed on to the developing countries. And the worst bit is he actually mentioned our country, India, in it. So he's been getting a lot of backlash because of the reason that he said it. Now, going back to the previous slide, we also saw how, the United States has been pretty much hoarding vaccines. It has been told that they had around 550 million doses of vaccines that they just kept, which they were literally hoarding. Whereas if you go to the next slide, you'll notice how countries like in India, the situation is so bad that people are facing shortages, right? For example, one of the states, how Kerala is recovering or trying to do something with this shortage is where they're using small overfills from these vials. So these vaccines like the Oxford, AstraZeneca, etc., they come in vials, right? And just to make sure that wastage does not happen, when they're getting manufactured, a little bit of extra is overfilled. Now, a state like Kerala, what they're doing is they are taking this extra dose and they are trying to administer the vaccine to more and more people because of the kind of shortage that is happening. Now, it's kind of pitiful to see how there literally are rich countries. What they say is 1 in every 4 rich country is fully vaccinated, and how they're hoarding these vaccines. And more importantly, they don't want the recipes, they don't want the supply chain, they don't want the patents to be given off to the rest of the world. But in recent news, Joe Biden comes in. Actually, they had a negotiation or interaction of sorts where the Prime Minister Narendra Modi discussed with Joe Biden, telling him that, hey, this is the situation, you guys need to help us. And eventually, Joe Biden's now said that he's willing to have like a temporary waiver of these patents. Now, is this like an act of goodness or is there something more behind it? Now, let me explain. You see, if the rest of the world is not vaccinated and if the rest of the world does not eradicate or at least get that herd immunity, it affects even these rich countries. If it's not like this disease is just endemic to one area, this disease spreads through air droplets, and we have seen how the mutations occur so fast, right? And they have been jumping from one country to the other. So, for example, if United States and United Kingdom feels like, hey, no, we are going to be protected, we'll have all our people vaccinated, but let the developing countries, face this issue on their own, that won't work. Because as the disease prolongs there, more and more variants can come, and that would in fact cause reinfection. Right? So now you understand why it is also in the US's best benefit or best interest to make these patents widely available to the rest of the world. Awesome. And now let's go on to the final news. This one again, as you can see, that's from Google Patents. And the patent that was filed, it was filed in the year 2018, but it just got accepted in Jan 12th, 2021. And the patent is called Identification of Taste Attributes from an Audio Signal. And you know who filed this patent? Well, it's the famous audio streaming platform, Spotify. Now you might think, hey, what is this? Identification of taste attributes from an audio signal. Isn't that like voice recognition? Aren't other platform softwares and companies already working on it? We have the Siri, we had the Cortana, we have all these platforms that already have some form of voice recognition. So what's so special in this, else, and why are you talking about this? Now, recently, a couple of days ago, a lot of musicians and celebrities and organizations like Amnesty International, Access Now, etc. have been fighting against this and telling Spotify that this patent is an invasion of privacy. Let me give you a little bit more clarity. You see, when they write something like identification of taste attributes from an audio signal, and if you read the entire patent, there are parts where they mention it's true. The idea that Spotify is trying to bring is that by listening to you, by listening to your voice, by listening to the voice of the friends and those around you in your environment, and not just the people, by listening to the environment as a whole, they are going to be trying to identify the kind of mood that is around you and then give you suggestions based on that. You see, right now what we have is when you go on Spotify, you get to the first onboarding process has that part where, you get to choose your favorite pop stars or your interests or what kind of moods that you like. So what Spotify says is that we want to improve that interface, right? Rather than making it so manual, using tech, let's try and make things a lot more better. But you see, with any of these patents, not just the wording, but the technology is probably like a double-edged sword. Right? There could be benefits from it, but these kind of technologies can be manipulated and misused. Now, I heard this particular news which caught my interest, and let me give you an example. Do you remember we spoke about StyleGAN 2? Yeah, the generative adversarial networks, and also how you have things like deepfakes. And then you remember once we discussed this news where a person created this fake profile on Twitter and ended up getting followers and therefore influencing people. Now combine that with this and also combine that with something like a GPT-3. Do you see where I'm getting at? You have audio. Now you can have text to speech using something like a GPT-3. Now you can have a deepfake. Now, someone did this, right? They came up with this personality of Tom Cruise, a fake personality of Tom Cruise, put it up on TikTok or some platform, and you had Tom Cruise dancing. Now, forget it. Now, we all know that was probably not Tom Cruise on TikTok. But what if it was someone like you or me? What if a deepfake of me or you was put up and a GPT-3, text-to-speech, etc. was used? And how if you could, use these kind of things, the kind of misuse that can happen is insane. Right? And that's one of the reasons why organizations are against this. The other reason is that they feel like this could be an infringement into the basic human rights like race and color and people's interests. So what they say is, what if if I have a particular accent, right, and I'm given suggestions based on my particular accent, it might exclude other factions or other musicians, other podcasts from being a part of my interests. So yeah, that's the reason, Spotify put this up. And when Access Now asked for, Access Now is an organization, it's a digital non-profit. They requested the Spotify team to give a response to this claim. What Spotify did is they directed to an April letter where they mentioned that we as a company, we do not intend to use this anytime now or in the future. So then the question comes, then why did you file the patent? So Spotify says that there are some other things. And so it's also to make sure this kind of thing does not happen in other people's hand. Now it's interesting to see, we'll have to, it's only time will tell where something like this can happen. But I'd love to know, what are your thoughts on this patent and all the other patents that we also discussed in today's news? Do you think what US is doing right now is just some a gift that they're giving to the rest of the world? What are your thoughts on Gary Vee's VeeFriends? Do you think that's going to be a part of the content creator economy? And what about Spotify's recent filing of the patent? So what do you guys think about that? I'd love to know. Thank you for showing up in today's episode. We're trying something new. I know it was quite a short. I hope you like this. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video. I'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.